गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा रस बिहारी राधे जय गौरांगी बंगलोरीश्वर गौरांगी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य स्तोत्र शत His Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, BBD founder Acharya, Savior of the whole universe Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Stotra Shata His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Hardas Thakur ki jai. Jai Shri Roop Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Chat Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। द्वारिका धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। कावेरी माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories and glories and glories and glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Wishing you all a very happy God Purnima festival. Today is the big festival for us as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. We celebrate it as large scale as we celebrate Krishna Janmashtami. We will go straight into our conversation on Srimad Bhagavatam today, and at the end, I'll try and glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as we move forward. The class is designated for something else, so we will continue with our discussion on the class. Just allow me 1 minute to share my screen. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, text number is 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraje Nastaprai Shobhadreshu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangayatem Grim Yat Kribatamaham Vande Shri Guru Darinam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay. Rasyasti anusmritam chitam yana brahma smriti shreya tadrodam kavyaha pruhur atma pahavanam atmana rasyasti anusmritis chittam gnana brahmasa smriti shreya tadrodam kavyai prahur atma pahavanam atmana. Prashatyanu chitam gnana brahasmaha spritishayam tadrodam kavyaha prahur atmapaha navanam atmanam. Word to word translation. Prashyanti, become destroyed. Anusmriti, constantly thinking. Chittam, consciousness. Gnana bahar brahmasaha, bereft of real knowledge. Smriti shaya, by destruction of remembrance. Tadrodam, choking that process. Kavya, great learned scholars. Prahuhu, have opined. Atma, of the spirit. Upon Navan, destruction. Atmana, of the soul. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. When one deviates from his original consciousness, he loses the capacity to remember his previous position or recognize his present one. When remembrance is lost, all knowledge acquired is based on a false foundation. When this occurs, learned scholars consider that the soul is lost. I'll repeat the translation. When one deviates from the original consciousness, he loses the capacity to remember his previous position or recognize his present one. When remembrance is lost, all knowledge acquired is based on a false foundation. When this occurs, learned scholars consider that soul is lost. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The living entity or the soul is ever existent and eternal. It cannot be lost, but learned scholars say that it is lost when actual knowledge is not working. That is the difference between animal and human being. According to less intelligent philosophers, animals have no soul, but factually, animals have souls due to the animals' gross ignorance. However, it appears that they have lost their souls. Without a soul, a body cannot move. That is the difference between a living body and a dead body. When a soul is out of the body is called dead. The soul is said to be lost when there is no proper knowledge exhibited. Our original consciousness is Krishna consciousness because we are a part and parcel of Krishna. When this consciousness is misguided and one is put into material atmosphere, which pollutes the original consciousness, one thinks that he is the product of the material elements. Thus, one loses his real remembrance of his position as a part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as a man who sleeps forgets himself. In that way, when the activities of a proper consciousness are checked, all the activities of the lost soul are performed on a false basis. At the present moment, human civilization is acting on the false platform of bodily identification. Therefore, it can be said that the people of the present age have lost their souls, and in this respect, they are no better than animals. Om Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatambitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamniti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Interesting topic, interesting analogies given by Srila Prabhupada, and a very nice conversation here Srila Prabhupada gives on what is the soul and the body and why soul is very, very important. Yeah. So if you really see in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says lost their souls, but actually they haven't lost it technically. They haven't. There is soul. There is soul, and how can we lose the soul? It is not possible because of their soul being around there. They are eternally there. But instead, they've lost their soul when they don't realize their special identity. We have to realize that we are the spirit soul and we are different from this body. So when we don't realize that, then it's a problem. It's like having a great inheritance of one's father, but not realizing that you have it. Actually, there's a person who's multimillionaire, but what has happened is he's living a pauper's life. And why is he living a pauper's life on the street? Because he doesn't realize that he has inherited millions and $1,000,000 from his father, but he doesn't know it. He has forgotten, and that's the reason he's suffering from. This is a situation which is called amnesia. He forgets what is he actually, and then he starts living in a very pathetic condition or a pauper's condition because he has forgotten his condition or he's forgotten his relationship with his father. So, for example, the great grandson of Henry Ford, He has a huge inheritance, but he's living like a beggar on the street because he has forgotten. So actually, it is not that he is a real pauper, but he is said to be pauper because he is living like a pauper. So they don't haven't. So he hasn't really lost everything. So if you see, human beings haven't really lost their soul, but it is said that they've lost their soul because they've forgotten their original position, or they've forgotten their soul, and they are considering themselves as a material being. They're not considering themselves as spiritual being, that we don't belong to this place. We've just come to this material world. We are not this body. This body is temporary covering that we have got, and we are actually part and parcel of Krishna and a spirit soul. So the Krishna consciousness movement is dedicated to reawakening. Why is it called reawakening? We are awakened. We actually know what is our condition, but what has happened is, because of the dust, it is covered. The awakening is covered. And that's why we are saying that it is reawakening of our consciousness for those who have actually forgotten their original position. And it gives us a reawakening of the consciousness of who we are, or who we actually are. And we should know who we are and where we come from. And that's our philosophy. That's Krishna consciousness. Why should you go and not know whom you are and what are you trying to do, or what is that something that is not there? The reason that they want to leave, the reason they want to hold off old age, they want to hold off disease, they want to hold off death. This is the actual. But the soul actually does not get old at all. It is the body which actually gets disease, it gets old, it has death. The soul never has birth or death. Yeah, it doesn't even have any disease or doesn't die. And that's why we are trying to hold off these things, because these things are unnatural to our actual soul. The soul never dies. So it is very unnatural if somebody says that you're going to die. No, you're not going to die. The soul is permanent. So the thing is that as long as they try to hold off the old age, disease, and death on the bodily platform. And how do we do this on the bodily platform? By so-called scientific advancement. They will never be successful. It will never work. Yeah. Actually, the lifespan is going down. If we go back to the previous yugas, in Satyuga, people would live 100,000 years. They would turn 100,000 years and then, they would leave that body. But in Treta Yuga, it came down to 10,000 years. In Dwapar Yuga, it came down to 1,000 years. And in Kali Yuga, we call it as 100 years. But then that's the standard that we would really call it. But now it's going down and down and down. Though we call that, mortality has gone down and the lifespan is increased. No, that's not the fact. If we compare ourselves with Satya Yuga, where people used to live 100,000 years, and today it is only 100 years maximum, and not beyond that. It will eventually come to the age of Kali when you leave as teenagers and leave the body. So because we are not identifying with the actual self, that's the problem. We are still identifying with the false self, which is the body. But in Krishna consciousness movement, we are learning from Srila Prabhupada that we are not this material body. We are learning, revealing it to us from the scriptural wisdom. Srila Prabhupada, in every purport that you go, somewhere or the other, directly or indirectly, and most of the time, directly, he says, you are not this material body, you are the spirit soul. You are not this body, you are the spirit soul. You are not this material body, you are the spirit soul. So the truth remains what? The truth remains, Jivara Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. One is an eternal servant of Krishna. One is not temporary here. You are a permanent soul, and the permanent soul has permanent service. Permanent service is what? Krishnera Nityadas. The constitutional position of a living entity is being the eternal servant of Krishna. So how do you get back then being what you actually are? And how do you get rid of the illusion of the bodily consciousness that we have? And that is called sadhana bhakti. Here in the instructions from the spiritual master, from the scriptures, we understand that this is the process of reviving my original identity. Even though I don't realize it right now, even though I'm still identifying myself with this body, which is again suffering in so many ways. I'm still thinking, I'm suffering this, I have this, I have that, I have this. But actually, it is not me. The soul never suffers. If it was to be self-conditioned, we actually think I'm itching. When you feel a little itch, or you say I'm tired, or whatever it may be. Actually, the soul is never tired. It never feels the need of sleep. It never feels itchy. But we think, yes, I'm tired. I need a nap. But actually, you don't need it. The body needs it. But we keep thinking, I'm the body. I'm suffering. I'm suffering in this way. I'm suffering in that way. I have this disease. I have this problem. I have this mental problem. But the thing is that we take this body and we engage in the service of Krishna. We bow down before the deity. We chant the japa, fingering the beads, we chant the japa, chanting the mantra on our lips, hearing, using our ears to hear, using our eyes to see the beautiful form of the Lord. If we engage all the senses, like making garlands for the Lord, cooking offerings for the Lord, cleaning the offering plates of the Lord, cleaning the altar of the Lord, going out and preaching, making garlands. You see our devotees in the temple, every afternoon they sit together and make garlands. What is happening? That all these devotees are engaging themselves in some or the other service for the Lord. Yeah, now I'm sitting here, I'm thinking that I'm sitting on the Vyasasana. Actually, I'm not sitting on the Vyasasana. The body is sitting on the Vyasasana. So as long as we think that we are this body, we keep identifying with the body. And Srila Prabhupada says that way, by thinking so, we are crazy idiots. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada used to be very, very heavy on devotees, they would call idiots and all that. But then he is trying actually for us hard to realize that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. So when we have to hear from Srila Prabhupada is enlightening us with the transcendental wisdom. It's very clearly given in the shloka. So nicely Srila Prabhupada gives us this transcendental wisdom. It's such an amazing thing that Srila Prabhupada went to the Western world and started this movement. So Srila Prabhupada has made very clear here that there is difference between a living body and a dead body. A living body and dead body, what is the difference? Because there is no presence of the soul, then it becomes a dead body. Otherwise, when there's a presence of the soul in that body, it's a living body. And Srila Prabhupada said that this rascal said there is no soul. Srila Prabhupada can be very heavy. Well, pardon me, I cannot use those words, but I'm just repeating what Srila Prabhupada said. And that's why I'm saying that Srila Prabhupada said this rascals said that there is no soul. And sometimes they go beyond that. They also say there is no God, there is no soul. And that's called rascaldom. It's called a rascal philosophy. Srila Prabhupada used to say that these are so-called scientists, so-called philosophers. And if you want to be a real scientist, if you want to be an actual philosopher, a real philosopher, then you'll have to see the things as they are. You cannot present a bogus philosophy, a bogus science. If you present a bogus philosophy, you are not a philosopher at all. And if you propagate the bogus science, then you're not a scientist at all. You are simply a Mahamuda. This is what Srila Prabhupada used to say. To be actual scientist and actual philosopher, you'll have to see things as they are, which we are not seeing. And that's why Srila Prabhupada also named Bhagavad Gita as it is. We should see it as it is. What is happening is we're covering it. Either our eyes are covered or we are covering the whole thing which is in front of us. The soul and body are absolutely different. Every movement that we see, you can remember that maybe I can take this example. When I was a little kid, I was riding a bicycle. And you know exactly what we are experiencing at that time, being a little child. I did that. But actually, that body is gone. When I was a little boy, the body is already gone. Now I'm grown up. Maybe I'm slowly becoming old as well. So it's not me who's becoming old, it is the body which is becoming old. The body has gone through those experiences, and all the cells and the molecules, they're all different now. What cells I had 30 years back are different than what I have today. The body is completely changed. It's just that I remember the experience I had when I was a little boy. So if you analyze it scientifically and philosophically, you can see that me and the body are different. Do you find that small me of that time now? No, you find me a different me. So myself and the body are two different things. So once you actually realize that I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul sitting in the body, that is what is called intelligence. That I'm not this body, but I'm the spirit soul which is actually sitting in the inside this body. And the intelligent thing is that we have to act for the welfare of the self. And when I say a welfare of the self, that is the welfare of the spirit soul. Why should I think of the pleasure of this body when it is temporary? Or if I see something nice, my eyes have a pleasurable sight. If I eat something nice, then I have the jiva which is tasting it. When I wear something nice, it is the pleasure of the body. But again, this is very, very temporary. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that you should stop eating. You should eat something nice which is offered to Krishna as bhoga and then eat it as prasadam. Yeah. You should see the beautiful form of the Lord for what it is meant. Yeah. So the pleasure of this body, which is temporary, it's a temporary vehicle and which is going to go away today or tomorrow. Why should I spend all my energy simply thinking or taking care of the body and satisfying the bodily desires? You may ask this question, is it foolish or is it intelligent for me to spend time on something which is going to leave for a very short time, which is going to be present for a very short time? If I spend my whole life serving this temporary body, the time of death is, I'm finished. It'll be buried in a tomb or cremated. And why should I spend the whole life simply serving the bodily requirement, the tongue, the belly, the genitals? And why should I spend the whole life serving the tongue? But it is not really me. The intelligent thing is to do that. Let me serve my actual self. My actual self is my spirit. And what is a real self-interest? Since I can, scientifically and philosophically analyze that me and the body are two different things, what is actually beneficial for now when I really go into it? The actual self within the body, which is my spirit soul. And what is the actual benefit for me now, for the spirit soul? How do I find out that? What is taught in the elementary school or the junior school or the high school or the college is beneficial to me? And Srila Prabhupada used to call this as, this is all rascaldom. The educational institutions are all bogus. They're based on the I and the body. So you have to find someone who's actually fully realized and he's not on the bodybuilding platform. And who is that person? That's the spiritual master. Our spiritual master, our Param Guru, Srila Prabhupada. From Prabhupada, who is a fully realized soul, and he tells us that he is not this body, he's the eternal servant of Krishna. And how we have to become an eternal servant of Krishna and how to take care of the higher self-interest of the living being in every minute. We've learned all this from Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas. We saw their own examples. We see we can study it philosophically, but to actually see it in practice, to see it here in a person who's fully living for the welfare of actual self. And the beauty of that is that he is not only for his own self, he is also doing it in the highest interest of all the living entities throughout. At an elderly age, why Srila Prabhupada had to go to a land which is unknown? He went for the highest interest of all the living entities to give Krishna consciousness. And that's the amazing thing about Srila Prabhupada, that he did not care for himself. On Jaladuta, he had heart attacks. He was not keeping too well. He was seasick. But still he prayed to Krishna that whatever you want me to do, I will do it, Krishna. You want me to preach, I will go and preach. But I'm carrying, what am I carrying with me in my heart? The instructions of my spiritual master, who told me that please go and preach to the English speaking people. So it is like when you water the root, all the leaves and the branches are nourished. And it is how, when you feed your belly, you nourish the whole body. So when you actually act for the highest self-interest of a living entity, which is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you are actually doing the highest act of self-interest for all the living entities. And that's the reason one has to become Krishna conscious. And what does it mean by becoming Krishna conscious? It means to act for the welfare of all living entities by serving the Supreme Living Entity. And who is the Supreme Self? It is Krishna himself. And that is why we call that this Krishna consciousness is full of bliss. The actual nature of living entity is eternal. He's full of bliss and full of knowledge. Sat, Chit and Ananda. That's the original nature of the living entity. It's only due to the misidentification that we have with the matter that we experience temporarily. We are in ignorance, we are in misery. So we have to stop identifying with the matter. But now, how do you really do that? You start with acting on the consciousness of sadhana bhakti. It means you act on the actual platform welfare, where you have the welfare for the self and the public at large. You engage your ears in hearing the glories of the Lord. You engage your tongue in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You engage your eyes in seeing the beautiful form of the Lord. Yeah. You engage your hands in serving the Lord, doing the deity seva, doing the cooking for the Lord, or like how I mentioned, making the garlands for the Lord, cleaning the temple of the Lord, writing for the pleasure of the Lord. There are some of us who have flair for writing. You can really write nice articles. You can really write nice, conclusions drawn from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. To use the hands for that. They are beautiful art that can be created by the hands. So Srila Prabhupada engaged all his disciples in various services which they were experts. There were some of them who were experts in making the pictures of Krishna, in painting, in the art. Srila Prabhupada engaged them. I think if I remember the name properly, it is Jadurani Mataji, who was actually very good at drawing. And Srila Prabhupada asked her to do it. There were some of those Matajis right in the initial stages, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who were great at cooking. So Srila Prabhupada engaged them in cooking bhoga and offering it to the Lord. So there are various ways and means that one can really offer service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kulashekar Arwar says that, "O Lord, engage me in your service before the old age takes me over. When my eyes are not able to see, when my throat chokes with cough, when my legs don't really permit me to walk up to the temple, when my hands don't permit me to personally serve you." So it is a wake-up call for us when we have this body which is supporting us, which is healthy, and the mind is still alert. Because with old age, the mind also starts depleting. You stop remembering things, or you vaguely remember certain things. You start faltering in your speech. You start faltering in your coordination between the mouth and the hand. You take something to eat, but it doesn't go to the mouth and just falls before that. These are all problems which come with the body. And if we don't realize that these problems are going to come and we still continue saying that I am this body, I will continue to be there. If we still continue to identify ourselves with the matter, which is the body, we will never be able to go back to Krishna. The whole intent of this bhakti is serving Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why earlier I said Krishna consciousness is said to be full of bliss. You do anything, you're in happiness. There are devotees who do the management. They are also in full bliss. Because they don't identify themselves as the body, they identify themselves as a soul, and they feel that they're doing the service. They realize and they do the service for the Lord. So that is also bliss for them. You see devotees going out on Harinam Sankirtan on the streets. They're so blissful. Not only that they are blissful, they also make the others blissful. Because then people start realizing, saying that I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul. The spirit which is sitting in the heart actually gets that pleasure, and then people start chanting the holy name on the road as well. Our devotees go and distribute books. We just concluded the book distribution marathon some time back. And when we do book distribution marathon, devotees are so happy, they're so blissful that they are distributing the Shastras, they're distributing the books authored by Srila Prabhupada, they're distributing, such wonderful, knowledge which people generally are bereft of. So it is very important that we come out of this bodily concept of life. And going back to the translation, it says, when one deviates from the original consciousness. What is the original consciousness? I am the spirit soul, I am not the body. It says, when one deviates from the original consciousnness, he loses the capacity to remember his previous position or recognize the present one. He does not even recognize the present one. In the previous position, he is the spirit soul. Even in the current position, he is the spirit soul. He is not able to recognize the previous position, nor is he able to recognize the present one. And when the remembrance is lost, all knowledge acquired is based on false foundation that I am this body. When this occurs, learned scholars consider that the soul is lost, because we are identifying ourselves with the body. We are identifying ourselves with the matter. So I would like to conclude the Srimad Bhagavatam portion of it today from here. And the first line of the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that the living entity or the soul is ever existent and eternal. It cannot be lost at all. Yeah. So we should all identify that and, do that is required to ensure that the other fellow human beings also realize that it is important that we get over the bodily concept of life. We will move on to today is the auspicious appearance day of Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the Kali Yuga. Krishna himself came as a devotee, in the form of a devotee, to teach us how one needs to lead the life. So we will read a little bit about that as well. Yeah. We will discuss a little bit about that as well. So Gaur Purnima on the full moon day in the month of Falgun, conjoined with the star called Falguni. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says that I will appear in the golden form, begotten by Purandara in the womb of Sachimata. This is from Vayu Purana actually. And Shri Gaur Purnima is the auspicious appearance day of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also known as Gauranga Mahaprabhu, because of his golden complexion. And as per the Shastras, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna appeared as Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and taught us the importance of devotional service to the Lord through congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And he appeared on the Falgun Purnima, which is today, the full moon day of Falgun. And this was in 1486 in Sri Ram Mayapur as a son of Sri Jagannath Mishra and Srimati Sachi Devi. And they initially named him as Nimai since he was born under a neem tree in the courtyard of his parental house. This festival also marks the beginning of the new year for Gaudiya Vaishnava. So for all of us who practice the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, it is the beginning, it's a new year for us. So it's a big celebration how we celebrate. So in Garuda Purana, there are highlights that talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. And the Lord says that in the first part of Kali Yuga, I will appear in my full, complete spiritual form in Mayapur Navdeep, and I will become the son of Sachi Mata. As we go forward, it says in the first part of Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord is in the golden complexion and will become the husband of Lakshmi. Then he will become a sannyasi and reside near Jagannath Puri. So we all know that, the Lord appeared in Mayapur and he came in this golden form, golden complexion. And then at a later date, he also became a sannyasi. He took the vow of sannyas ashram and he always resided at the end near Jagannath Puri. And the Supreme Lord, who took the delight in his pastime with the gopis, who filled the residents of Vrindavan with joy and night, who slew Kamsa and who made friends with Pandavas in the battle between Kauravas, will without any doubt come again on earth. He will be a sannyasi with name Chaitanya, whose arms will be decorated with bamboo stick. And in Narsimha Purana, it is said that Supreme Lord, who assumed the form of half man, half lion in the Satyuga to cure the dreadful disease that he was devastated the Daityas, and who appeared as Rama conquered the 10-headed Ravana in Treta Yuga, and who removed the burden of earth in the Dwapar Yuga and protected the coward men of Raja, will be the Lord by name Chaitanya in the Kali Yuga, and he will have a golden form and he will take pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. What does Gaur Purnima mean? Gaur Purnima means golden full moon, signifying that Lord Chaitanya was born during a full moon, and the Lord blesses everyone with soothing moon-like rays of his sublime teaching. So Lord Chaitanya blesses everyone with soothing moonlight. Those who witnessed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime saw him dance, chant with ecstatic love for Krishna, and the likes of which has never been seen before. He encouraged everyone to follow this same process. He taught everyone that regardless of background or spiritual qualification, they could develop their innate love for Krishna and experience the spiritual pleasure by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appeared as a devotee of Krishna in Mayapur, and he introduced the Sankirtan movement, the widespread congregational chanting of the Supreme Person's name, that is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, as the most effective way by which anyone can achieve spiritual perfection. By his influence, many of India's leading religious scholars and their followers become devotees of Krishna. Sorry. And in his youth, Mahaprabhu started the Sankirtan Academy he started the Sanskrit Academy in Navadvip. And that was considered India's top center for learning at that time. And he earned a reputation as an excellent scholar. But at a very young age of 24, he renounced everything to travel and encourage everybody. And wherever he went, he encouraged everybody to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And he's considered as a scholar in this avatar based on the evidence that is given in the Vedic Shastras. And the current movement of ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is a continuation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. And if you see, Mahaprabhu was very humble and he had a very saintly demeanor, and his knowledge of Vedic conclusions was very high, and which is what persuaded a lot of impersonalists to take up to Krishna consciousness. And if we go further on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, the Shat Goswami, 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, made a thorough analysis of the Vedas, and they gave us the basics of this bhakti, how we have to become devotees. And they gave us the essence of the Vedic teaching. And Mahaprabhu's extensive conversation with his devotees, such as Ramananda Raya or Sanatana Goswami, form the philosophical and the scriptural basis for Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And if we really look at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, only wrote 8 verses, which is called the Sikshastakam, in which he teaches that chanting the holy name of the Lord is the most simple and sublime spiritual practice for everybody. And anywhere you go, if one can chant the holy name of the Lord, he can be absolutely God conscious. He also showed extraordinary symptoms of love for God. And among his great scholars are his 6 Goswami disciples, Sri Rup, Sri Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva, Gopala Bhatta, Das Raghunath. And they've done a lot of work as far as our Shastras and scriptures evidence is concerned. And they gave us the basis for Krishna consciousness. So wishing all the devotees a wonderful Gaur Purnima festival. And our prayers at the lotus feet of their lordships, that they give us all Krishna Bhakti. And that is the Samanbhuman of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction, saying that Chare Deko Tahe Ko Krishna Upadesh Amara Agya Hoy Tarai Desh. So wherever you see, whomever you see, in whatever condition you see, please give them the holy name of the Lord, which is the most important thing. So on this auspicious day, let's pray at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, oh Lord, please shower us with your bhakti, because you are none other than Krishna. And the second prayer that devotees should also have is saying that, please give me the power to preach, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted everybody to go and preach. He wanted everyone that we meet, we talk to them about the holy name of the Lord, talk about the pastimes of Krishna. So we pray at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying that, please give us bhakti, please give us the energy to preach, please give us your mercy, O Lord. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. If you have any questions as far as Srimad Bhagavatam discussion that we had from 4.2 to 2.31, you can ask me questions. Or if there are any doubts, please clarify. If there are any comments, please go ahead and make. Or if there's anything that you want to add to what I spoke, I'll be happy to hear that. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we will end our session here today. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Purnima Maha Mahotsav ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nathai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavi Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Jai. Hare Krishna. I will end the session here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.